the quality of your life
Yeah.
is not determined by who you are or just what you have. It's also impacted by who you with. You cannot have life, get life right, and get relationships wrong. You, first of all, you can't even get Christianity right and get relationships wrong. That's a completely different, because Jesus said all of the Old Testament can be combined into these two statements: love God
Yeah.
and love your neighbor as yourself.
Wow. Wow.
Like that's you. So it means that if I'm gonna go. I'm taking another step. John says, not in the Gospels, John, the epistles. John says this. He says, if you say you love God, who you've never seen, and do not love your brother or sister, who you see every day, you're a liar.
A lot.
That's what he said. He says, your love for God is not what you think it is.
Yeah.
He said, you might believe that you love him the right way, but you are not loving him the right way if it's not translated into the way that you treat others. And so I feel like people, you know how we say people open doors, people are doors.
I love
People
that.
are
I
doors.
love that.
Every significant shift that happened in my life happened because there was a shift in something relationally. Sometimes my life got better when the wrong people went out. And my life got better when the right people came in.
That's it.
And so you never know who God's going to use you to bless. And you never know who God's going to use to bless you. One quick story. There's a story in Genesis about Joseph, right? You remember he's in prison interpreting dreams.
Right.
And he's interpreting dreams for people who can do nothing for him. They're in the same condition as he is, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people wouldn't have used their gift on those people because they feel like, I'm only going to use my gift in front of Pharaoh. I'm going to use my gift in front of influential people. These people can't do anything for me. But sometimes God connects you relationally with a person, not for where they are, but for where they're going. Because Joseph didn't have direct access to Pharaoh, but one of the men he interpreted the dream for got out of prison and was working for Pharaoh. And when Pharaoh had a dream, he remembered Joseph, and he was the one that became a door to Pharaoh. And so I think relationships they are absolutely everything. And I'm amazed at how we don't talk about how to manage them better more. That's almost scary to me. It's like, how is something so important to my life and there is little to no conversation about how to do well at them? It's almost like we assume I need to be taught how to do everything but how to manage relationships.
Wow. Yeah.
And so it's a little scary, but you cannot prosper without prospering in that area.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, it's so, and Joseph leveraged a relationship.
That's right.
In prison. So see, that tells you, even in your situation, like even when you feel like, you're just doing something you feel is insignificant, or the people around you are insignificant, and you stepping over them to get to the one you think is significant. God is saying those are people, you got to look at those relationships. That's right. And you are so right. We don't do well with that. Mm-hmm. We don't do well with that. But you can't pursue purpose and prosper without understanding the dynamics of relationships.
As a pastor, I've been around a lot of people when they were dying, end-of-life situations. Very rarely do people who are dying ask for you to bring things to their bedside. They always ask for people.
Wow.
And I believe, did you catch that? They always ask for people. They always ask the people. Always ask for people because in those moments when someone's about to transition, it's the relationships that they value the most. They don't say, give me a picture of my car. And they'll say, can you give me a picture of my house? So when you live with relational intelligence, you live your life in a way where you say, those that mean the most to me do not get the least from me.
Wow. Say that.
When you live with relational intelligence, you're living in a way that says, those that mean the most to me will not get the least from me.
Wow. love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's good, people.
That's prospering.
That's prospering.
That's prospering.
That's prospering.
It's rough to be in a house with people you don't like. That's not, I don't care how much square footage it is. It's like, it's not enough square footage in the world for me to be in like, when you're rich relationally, you're wealthy.
Oh
when you're
God.
rich relationally, then you're wealthy.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And like you said, you cannot leave that piece of the pie out. You cannot discount that. Relationships are so important.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what my bishop, he talks about a lot of times, is relationships. It's a ship. It's a, you know, it's not a one-way thing. It is a relationship. And for some reason, we do have a hard time with that.
Yeah. And he's great at that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I admire people. I'm not saying that they're more important. It's just my preference. We just talking. We family at this point. All right, so we just talking. I admire people that are better with people than people that are better with things, with doing things. Because it takes a bigger man or woman to be better with people. Yeah. I can be good at a thing and not be a good human. But to be good with people, I gotta be a good human.
That's it.
I can work a spiritual gift without spiritual growth. That's what most of the book of Corinthians was about.
Wow.
This was the most charismatic church that Paul ever wrote to.
Right.
Like it's everything going on in that church, right?
Right.
And Paul said, y'all carnal. They're prophesying. Literally, he says, he said, I can't even talk to you like you spiritually mature. I can't even give you meat. He said, you don't milk. He said, you carnal. There are divisions. You saying, I'll baptize Apollos and Peter. He said, I'm glad I didn't baptize any of you. So it's easier to work a spiritual gift because it doesn't require growth. Yeah. But to love somebody well.
Wow.
That requires not the gifts of the Spirit, the fruit of the Spirit. That requires growth. Bishop's a great man.
Yeah, he is, and you're right. Just good at that relationship thing. Yeah, he talk about. I'm a kind of joke on this. He said, "Sheep bite." You know.
Yes.
So you gotta love people, knowing that you got to.
A to the man. A to the man.
Love people.